welcome to another episode of Outside the Echo Chamber. Today we are coming to you from the Show and Bomb stage in downtown Charleston to show off the beautiful city because summer has begun. I know that there are some meteorologists out there who might say, well, technically summer doesn't begin until the 20th or 21st, but come on. The Memorial Day weekend is behind us. Summer is alive in West Virginia, and we are ready to celebrate because as you've known, if you've been around here for a while now, the events in Charleston just seem to be getting bigger and better each and every year. And one of those cornerstone events is Festival. And I've been talking long enough, so let me introduce Mackenzie Spencer, the executive director of that event. And Mackenzie, this is like, 19 years now for Festival?
20, actually.
20?
Yeah,
okay.
We're at 20. We are at a milestone year for Festival.
Well, it doesn't look a day over 19. But
we appreciate that.
It is one of, if not the cornerstone events in summertime in Charleston. And it has come a long way since the early 2000s. If you would just begin by talking a little bit about the evolution of the event, and specifically once Mayor Goodwin took over, how she has kind of molded it into her vision as well, and where we're going down the line here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Festival started as a 3-day long weekend kind of festival. And it was kind of born out of the idea of why can't we have that here? People would travel to different places, to different festivals all around the world, really, and they saw things that they'd never see in Charleston.
Right.
And so they said, why can't we bring those things to Charleston? And so we've kind of built that and grown that throughout these 20 years from a 3-day long weekend into a 10-day summer festival, a 10-day fall festival, year-round programming, and it really focuses on music, theater, art, and dance as kind of the cores.
And one thing that I thought was really cool when reading the mission statement is obviously it says, we focus on bringing entertainment and arts and eclectic atmospheres to the capital city, but then it goes on to say, in a way that we can encourage and inspire others to do the same. And that's an important aspect of that mission statement because it's not just something to do, but it's something to inspire other people to almost create a self-fulfilling momentum and almost a movement of sorts for the arts and culture here in the city.
Absolutely, and we've really seen that. I mean, we have a really vibrant music scene here. We have a really vibrant visual art scene here. The Charleston Light Opera Guild, Children's Theater of Charleston really have a great theater programming, and so we really do see that throughout the year in a lot of our partners, a lot of our collaborators that are right here. And I mean, we're really fortunate in the Charleston area to have so many people that are so talented and willing to share those talents and that passion and really inspire others with it.
Now, to go from a 3-day, basically long weekend event to now what has become 10 days, encompassing 2 weekends and the week in between, that's quite a massive leap. It's not that hard to pack 3 days full of stuff. To get a 10-day schedule, you need a lot of buy-in. Well, so what's happened with the local community over the years to get them on board and to make them understand that, this is something that can not only just grow your business, but also just be a community-based for everybody, an event for everyone to enjoy.
Well, and I'll tell you, it would seem hard to fill those 10 days, but people are knocking down our door. Right. I mean, the day that Festival is over, I've got people calling, wanting dates for the next year. So they're excited, and they see the value that the Festival name adds to their programming. And so we love working with everyone across the city and beyond to bring in all of this great programming. And I mean, people have seen that, attendance is up, economic impact is up, all of these things when you combine all these amazing events together into one package. And I mean, we have about 90 programs this time.
If you want to highlight some of those, I know it's a long 10 days.
It's a long list.
There's a long list. We could be here until Christmas, but just talk a little bit about what's exciting you most about this year and what you want to see the people see and maybe that they haven't ever experienced before for Festival.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I really want to drive home with folks about Festival is that most of the programming is free. It's totally free. It's open to the public. I mean, we have wonderful sponsors. We've got wonderful foundations that support us and things to make sure that people can enjoy this programming for free and that it's accessible. And so not only is it accessible cost-wise, it also is based on location. We are in every part of the city. We are up in South Hills at the Carriage Trail. We are in Canal City. We are on the west side of Charleston. We are downtown. We really kind of canvass the entire city. So there's something that is walkable, bikeable, drivable, that is close to you. And so that's one really big thing that I think people may not realize about Festival is just how much of the programming is so accessible. But I mean, we have traditional favorites that are coming back, like the Capitol Street Art Fair, the Children's Art Fair, which will be along Capitol Street. We've got 80 artisans. We've got lots of games and activities for the kids. We also have the Sunrise Carriage Trail, where we take the traditional trail and put artists there, and musicians and dancers along the trail. And so it kind of gives it more of an interactive feel throughout that event. But we also have like workshops with Black Locust Wood Shop over on Lee Street. They're going to be teaching people how to make wooden roses and birdhouses. And we've got dance clinics that'll be happening right on Capitol Street with River City Youth Ballet and things like that. So we really do have lots of programming for everyone. The Charleston Light Opera Guild is an amazing, amazing theater company that we're blessed to have in this community. They're going to be doing 6 showings of The Prom during the festival event over at their Playhouse on Tennessee Avenue.
Right.
So we've got lots of different things that'll kind of be everywhere.
Yeah, and a lot of it is community and family,
Yes,
family based.
very.
There are some events. Wine and Jazz Festival is always a big hit.
Yes.
That might be one where you have the kids stay with grandma for the day,
Right.
so you can Uber it over to the UC lawn and enjoy the day. But my kids love the miniature golf course
Yes.
that you set up downtown.
Yep.
They'll go through that every day if they could. So my question for you with that is, obviously with something like an arts themed event, you have your core audience. You know what the eclectic groups are in
Yep.
Charleston, and you attach the name arts to anything and they're going to come. But
Yeah.
for something like this, I would assume that the goal is to kind of expand that base.
Absolutely.
So what's a brainstorming session like for Festival when you sit down and decide, okay, how can we introduce some things to maybe a new audience that has never come to something like this, to see that it's really about a social gathering
Yeah.
and a community event?
Well, a lot of it comes down to, using new locations that people may be familiar with already and kind of putting something in that space that you may not have thought about before. So we have one program called Shakespeare-oki, which is basically, right, and the name
I
says
see
it
where
all.
this is going.
Exactly, it's karaoke, but with Shakespeare works. And we bring in professional Shakespearean actors, but we do it at Short Story Brewing. People love Short Story Brewing.
So when they walk in with the skull, you're like, yeah, it's Hamlet, I get it.
Yeah, you know what's going on.
Right.
We've got stuff at Fife Street Brewing. We've got stuff at Vino's. We've got stuff at the Clay Center. We've got stuff in all these places that you're familiar with and that maybe is a safer space for you because you've been there and you've done other things. But we want to introduce you to new things, and we want you to be able to take away other things. Short Story Brewing, we did that Shakespeare-oki for the first time last year with them. They said it was the biggest day of business they'd had since they've opened. And so they immediately were like, can we please do this again?
Right.
And so it also gives us new stakeholders in Festival as well when we can get those local businesses on our side.
And you talk about that being a catalyst for businesses and the events that are not just in downtown, but over in Kanawha City, South Hills, Elk City.
Yeah.
Has there been any talk of expanding that even further to try to maybe help out some areas that you're trying to jumpstart?
Well, so we have a neighborhood arts program that we work with a lot of the school systems and the after-school programs and youth-based program, and that's year-round programming. So we've done some things outside of the Charleston proper area with that. We also host a speaker series called 3 Things that goes on monthly from February to October, and the theme is my first, my favorite, and my future, whatever that means to the speakers, and there's 3 each month. And so we've done that outside of Charleston as well. We've done Shawnee Sports Complex. We've done some other smaller venues kind of around in an effort to kind of bring in some of the communities around. But yeah, I mean, we're always open to talk about possibilities and different things that folks may want to bring as part of Festival.
And as one of the tent poles of summertime activities in Charleston, it probably does create a foundation to build around and to have other events maybe circling it, so to speak. Have you seen that leading to other activities? I know that if you compare summertime 2023 in Charleston to what it was just 10, 15 years ago, it's a lot different.
It's so different.
And it all kind of intertwines together with what you're doing with renovating the Slack Plaza area and Holly Jolly Brawley for Christmas. Have you seen that kind of morph into kind of everything combined creates this almost environment where it helps arts and events and entertainment flourish throughout the year?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really see throughout the year now, some spaces that were never utilized that are completely overflowing with people because of the events and what they bring. And we all work really well together, all the event kind of producers in Charleston. We all really work together all year long. We work with Regatta, we work with Multifest, we work with all these folks because, you know, we live here too.
Sure.
We want this to be a vibrant community. We want to see people in the streets. We want our businesses to be well taken care of. We want to see our friends and neighbors who are artisans that are out on Capitol Street. We want them to be successful. And so we really work hard throughout the year to work together to make sure that we have a collaborative, cohesive schedule. We make sure that, you know, we work with Regatta to make sure that there's enough of a break between festival and Regatta so that city workers have a break.
Right.
Like we're even thinking about things like that. And so it's really nice to be in a city, in a space where we are able to do that and we are able to have those connections with people. But yeah, I mean, I really think that that has had a huge impact on the overall culture of Charleston.
Now, as the executive director, you probably oversee the bean counters too. So you talk about everything being free. It's not free to put it on.
Right,
There's
right.
a cost involved. So without getting too much into the minutia of numbers, you know, you have to allot a budget to that, and that money obviously comes from something that the city has to earmark for it. Obviously, and that's grown as the event has grown. Have you seen a good ROI, a good return on investment on that after something that you obviously have to pay for and not receive any revenue from people paying to go to?
Yeah, absolutely. The economic impact that we saw from Summer Festival last year, so literally a year ago, was about $9.4 million that was brought into the city over those 10 days. And we collect surveys at all of our events. We kind of take information from folks as we can to see, you know, who is staying in our motels and our hotels, who is eating at our restaurants. We'll ask our restaurants about their receipts and see how, if there's an uptick in business. But we also kind of use those surveys to look at zip codes and see where people are coming from.
Technology is wonderful.
It is, it's amazing. And we're able to see, you know, what are those metros that people are coming into town from. And we see all of these outlying areas in Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, where people are coming in and staying for, you know, 5, 6, 7 days of festival. And I mean, Regatta sees those, Multifest sees those as well. And so being able to use that data even to market the event for future years and to be able to say, you know, these are folks that are looking for this information, that are excited to come into town and see Charleston. We're able to do that. And I mean, 9.4 million, we're very happy.
And just out of curiosity, does that just go into like a general fund, or do you specifically earmark money that was brought in by festival to go toward next year's event?
That is economic impact as a whole. So that's your motel, your hotel,
Sure.
motel, your restaurants, everything.
So you have to spread that out.
So really what we do for festival is we do have an allocation from the city, but we also go after grant funding throughout the year. We have sponsors that graciously sponsor all of our events to make sure that we have free events
Rely
for
on
folks,
volunteers
and
and things like that.
lots and lots of volunteer hours.
So I know it's tough to see around the corners, but where do you see this headed in the next 19 years? Give me a vision of festival over the next couple of decades.
I mean, I think that at the heart and soul of festival will always be collaboration. And I don't, you know, that's a year from now, that's 20 years from now. Collaboration is really key for us and really important to our mission. And so we see expanded partnerships with a lot of our current people, and we hope more arts organizations come to town. We hope that there's new people that are kind of coming, but we want to expand our youth programming. We want to make sure that the youth in this area have access to the arts that are free to them. One of the programs that we help operate is called Ticket Town, and so we work with the schools and the after-school programs, especially on the west side of Charleston, to provide free tickets to different cultural things happening in the community. So if that's a Charleston Light Opera Guild show, Children's Theater of Charleston, Mountain Stage, something going on at the Clay Center.
It's so important to expand horizons at a young age.
Absolutely, because a lot of people just don't have the opportunities. Yeah. And not only do we provide those free tickets, but we also can provide transportation, meals for those after-school programs that may miss a meal time, that they have those federally mandated meals. And so we work with those folks, and we'd love to expand those partnerships. We'd love to get more people involved in that. We'd also really like to expand educational opportunities during festival for our artists. We have a lot of different things for the general public. We've got a lot of workshops. We've got a lot of people that will talk about their art and how they do things, but we want to be able to provide master classes and things like that for those artists.
Yeah, without the creators, there's no event.
Exactly, and they can expand their horizons, find new mediums, and that just immediately puts back in a more robust product.
You talked a little bit about surveys. What's the general feedback been like from the public on this as it morphs into something bigger and better every year?
Yeah, I mean, people are excited. People are excited to be in the community with their friends and their neighbors, making memories and doing things. They love that it's family friendly. That's one of the biggest things that people say to us is they love the family-friendly atmosphere.
Especially in the summer when the kids are out of school and
exactly.
you're looking for stuff to do.
Yeah. And so bring them on down to Capitol Street. We can keep them entertained all day long with different make and take crafts and different entertainers. And we're going to have stilt walkers and magicians and like we've got a lot of different things for kids. And so that's one of the things that people really, really love. The other thing is the diversity of the programming. They like how much programming, and while everybody can't get to everything at festival, I can't get to everything at festival. There's just too much happening.
Unless you take like 2 weeks off.
I mean, that's
all you do.
I'd need like 5 clones of me to be able to do that, I think. But they like the diversity of the programming. They like that they can pick and choose and that there's different things happening and that they can kind of jump in and jump out of different programming throughout those 10 days. And so those are the biggest things that we see.
We'll give them a website. Where can we find out all that we need to know about Festival coming up here soon, right around the corner?
FestivalCharleston.com. You'll find the full schedule of events. You can go and like kind of customize your experience, see what you want to do, and we hope to see everybody out.
Absolutely, and we're not done with you just yet. You brought up some other events that are going on in Charleston as part of the whole summertime atmosphere. And the other tentpole, I would think, is what a lot of people want to know about is Regatta as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that when Outside the Echo Chamber continues.
Are you ready to unlock a future filled with remarkable pay, unbeatable benefits, and unparalleled satisfaction? Imagine embarking on a journey that offers you a college-level education without the weight of debt, all while earning a steady income. Look no further than the West Virginia Building and Construction Trades Apprenticeship Programs. Join us, and together, let's build a future that's brighter and stronger. Go to actwv.org to apply today. The West Virginia Building and Construction Trades, where the future is.
At CAMC, our focus has always been on building better healthcare for you. Our new Center for Learning and Research combines cutting-edge technology with hands-on experience for physicians, nurses, and other caregivers. Using specially designed simulation rooms and robotics with expert instruction, our learners expand their expertise. Because you deserve the most advanced care possible, now and in the years to come. Welcome to the future of medicine.
Welcome back to Outside the Echo Chamber from the Schoenbaum stage in downtown Charleston. You heard a lot about Festival in the last segment. Now we're going to talk about the other real centerpiece event in Charleston over the summer, and that's Regatta. Of course, if you've been around here for a while, you probably remember the old Regatta, and then we took sort of a respite from that. And Mayor Amy Goodwin decided, in her infinite wisdom, to bring it back.
It's back.
I know that you have constant talks with the mayor. Was there any specific instance or event or epiphany that led to her saying, you know what, we need to bring this back and do it a little differently so we can make sure that it has sustained success?
That was a really early discussion. That was very, very early because, people have never stopped talking about the Regatta. Right. It was that memorable of an event. It was that big of an event. And so that was always kind of at the forefront of plans. And, obviously COVID and some things like that got in the way a little bit of planning originally, that first one coming back. But it's been back and bigger than ever, and it's been fantastic.
Yeah, and the crowds that we're talking about, that can create somewhat of a challenge because you do, for that event, you have limited space. Festival, you spread it out all over the city. For Regatta, you kind of want to keep it contained and control the chaos, so to speak. What kind of challenges has that created for you? Because a lot of times, better doesn't necessarily mean bigger, and when you're talking about crowds that start to overflow, what challenges have you faced with making sure that you give the people what you want, but you do it in a way where it doesn't get out of control?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it has been nice because with technology and the way that technology has allowed us to advance, we are able to put video screens kind of everywhere at this point. We're down on Haddad Riverfront Park right now. There's usually a screen exactly where we're sitting that people can sit within this bowl and watch concerts. People can actually be up on the street and watch concerts. There's screens that go down a few streets that you can see it from the side streets. And so that has helped a lot with the the crowds and things like that, especially with the more popular concerts and things.
I don't mean to interrupt, but if you're not familiar with the downtown Charleston area, we are right here on the stage, right along Canal Boulevard, and basically just a few hundred yards down is Capitol Street, and that's where the giant stage is set up.
Yes, that's where the huge stage is.
And then the crowds are kind of coming back on the boulevard.
Yeah.
So this is a way to kind of just get away from that mass of people.
Yeah,
and you're still close enough where you can really see the stage.
Yeah, you can still see it from here.
But it's almost like having a front row seat where you can still hear the music.
And there's kind of some built-in seating here because there are steps and things like that people sit on. But I mean, people bring lawn chairs and things like that and sit right on the street. But thankfully, one of the things that has been done over the past few years, which has made a huge difference to downtown, is the renovation of Slack Plaza. And so what used to be basically the KRT, the transit area, has changed into this beautiful green space with its own stage and things like that. And so some secondary programming for Regatta has moved to Slack Plaza, which has also helped kind of with crowd control because it's moved some to Slack Plaza. A lot of it's still on the boulevard. You've got the huge carnival happening kind of on the other end of the boulevard.
Yeah, and that's what they always say, right? When you bring people, retail follows. So you bring enough people, they start branching out, and people are like, hey, if I set up something over here, I'm going to get some of that. So it has become quite an event.
Yeah.
And I know this year we have Shaggy.
We do.
Is on the docket.
Yes.
A country act, Montgomery
Gentry is coming.
Right. And then this is going to be in our wheelhouse. I'm probably a little bit older, but I still remember, I was an adult already pretty much in the late 90s, but Vanilla Ice, Young MC, Tone Loc, and
Trash by Naughty from Naughty by Nature. They're
yeah.
coming together for one big night, and I love the '90s tour, and that's going to be
quite a night.
It's going to be a big
Saturday,
night.
Right?
It's going to be Saturday. Yes,
okay.
it is.
And that brings me to my next question. We talked a little bit about this during festival with trying to appeal to a large crowd, and that's something that it appears that has been a big step that you've taken for Regatta, is making sure that you do bring in those diverse acts and try to appeal to as many different people as possible, and maybe introduce them to something new.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the entertainment committee that kind of has been formed for Regatta really takes that to heart. That's something we have a lot of meetings about, we talk about a lot, is we want to make sure that we're not just, singling out one genre. We want to try to have stuff for different age demographics. We want to try to be diverse in the types of offerings we're bringing. And so I think the lineup this year is really fun, and we'll bring out a lot of people. I mean, you've got Shaggy one night. The very next night, you've got the Fab Four, which is an Emmy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that's right. I mean,
Emmy
if you like the
award-winning
Beatles
tribute band that is a nationally touring act.
Yeah, and they commit themselves.
They're great.
To it. I mean,
yeah,
they're
they
wearing
the
the whole early '60s Beatles get up and the mop heads and all that.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
they're great.
Yeah.
And so we've got that. We've got Montgomery Gentry, and Emily Ann Roberts is going to be opening up for Montgomery Gentry, who was on The Voice. And then we've got the big I Love the 90s tour to end things on the last night.
Now, I know that one of the reasons among many that it just kind of died out in the past was that it had gotten too raucous, and it turned into an event that was almost too tough to control. Have you been able to put some things in place to make sure that it stays under control? I know we talked about that a little bit, but
yeah,
I don't. Not specifically, it wasn't necessarily the alcohol per se. I mean, you can still do that in a way where you're responsible and keep it controlled. But have you learned from talking to people about what maybe got out of hand back in the day to make sure that doesn't happen again this time around?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that the folks that have been really in charge of those logistics, those safety logistics, including Charleston Police Department, Charleston Fire Department, Charleston Homeland Security, all those
do
folks
wonderful work with
who
all these
are
events
amazing and are everywhere, are ever present at all the events in town. Really sat down with the folks from Regatta and said, these are the things that we feel like need to happen to make sure that everybody is safe, that everybody has fun, that we don't have issues, and it's been successful. I mean, I think folks are able to come down here, have a great time, hang out with their friends, and have a safe time.
We talked about the time frame. You say you spread it out a little bit so that the workers can get some rest between festival and Regatta. Are you happy with that over the July 4th weekend time frame? Has that worked out well for you?
I think it's been great, and really the sternwheelers are the ones that love it, I think, the most.
Yeah.
We have so many boats that come in with the stern wheels, and I mean, those folks have been so kind, so excited to be back in Charleston. And a lot of them are boat owners that were here during the original regatta. And they've said, I love that we're back. Like, this has been so fantastic. And they really love the 4th of July weekend being here. And so we want to keep them happy. We need the boats.
Sure, yeah, no kidding. And obviously to make this as good as it can be moving forward, you learn. And, I always tell my boys, there's no such thing as failure. You either succeed or you learn.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure there are some things each year that you pick up on
Always.
and learn from. If you could pick out one specific thing that you think you could do better, or that you'd rather do, what would that be?
I mean, honestly, just what any event holder says is you want more days because you want to be able to do more stuff. But at some point, when is enough? Enough, and we want to make sure that we're putting on a quality program. And so we find like that 4 or 5 days, we like that sweet spot in there. And so I think that is probably here to stay, or is definitely something that everybody's kind of trending more towards. But, you find issues with fitting everything in because everybody wants to be a part of it, because they see the fun, they see the excitement around it, and everybody wants to be a part.
Anecdotally, from just as a dad, one of the things that I've heard from a lot of other parents and people around is that there seems to have been kind of like the pricing for the rides is like inconsistent. Like one year it's one thing, the next year they're charging for something that they weren't charging the year before. And if you're here all day, then you can probably get a good deal out of a wristband where you can do all the rides. But even if you have a wristband, some rides still cost you money. Has there been any talk of kind of streamlining that maybe a little bit so people kind of know what they're in for before they get there?
Well, so a lot of that is set by the actual company that brings in the carnival. Exactly. It's a third-party service. But, we're always in talks with folks to try to make communication better and try to make sure that people know what's going on. So, that's always something that's at the forefront.
And being on the 4th of July weekend, fireworks are also
always
a big part of that.
Always.
And so you're kind of combining two different things. People would already be here for the 4th of July if there was nothing going on, just to sit down and watch the fireworks. So on that specific day, does it ratchet it up to a different level in terms of not just the fun and the excitement, but also of making sure, as you said, that crowd control and keeping everyone safe, especially when you're talking about fireworks.
Exactly, making sure everybody's safe. And, at this point, the city of Charleston has become pretty good at fireworks. Between the city, between Go-Mart Ballpark, we do fireworks a lot in this town. And so we work with DOH, we work with the fire department, yet again, and the fireworks company to make sure that everything is safe, everything is blocked off, nobody has access to the launch site to make sure everybody is safe. But it brings people down that would be down here just to celebrate the 4th of July, and we're excited to offer them more programming alongside those fireworks.
And if it does get to the point where you do think it's getting too big, is there anything that can be done, or have you had talks about that, about like, okay, how are we gonna limit this if it gets to that point where we're bursting at the seams or there's not enough room to expand? I mean, sometimes people would say, that's a good problem to have if you're getting too big, but also you want to make sure that it stays controlled.
Exactly, and you want it to be safe, because that is at the forefront of everything that we do. As I think a whole city, when it comes to events, is safety, safety, safety. That is the first thing any event holder thinks about.
Right.
And so, the fire department and the police department, always have contingency plans just to make sure that everything is safe and everything is under control. And thankfully, we've been really good. Everybody's been really safe. Everybody has been really respectful, and has been there had not been any issues that we've had to deal with. But that's always something that's being talked about just in case.
So it's a 4-day event? This year?
So it's 5. It's
technically.
4 big nights of concerts, and then on Sunday we're actually having an 80s dance party on the boulevard. So that will be like kind of Sunday afternoonish.
Okay, and that encompasses the 4th of July weekend.
It does,
So another wonderful event in Charleston that'll help springboard your summertime plans. But that's not all. There are some other little things, and I want to kind of just go through the miscellaneous items, if you will. Just talk about what's making Charleston as wonderful as it is. So we'll be back to wrap that up in just a moment.
When it comes to surgical care, you want the best hands behind the robot. And those are ours. Choose Mon Health. Feel the difference.
Experience the power of compassion in action at the Donna L. Skeen Senior Expo. Let's bring our community members and service providers together to create a network of support for aged and disabled West Virginians and those that care for them. Join us June 27th and 28th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Charleston Coliseum and Civic Center for healthcare resources, entertainment, vendors, and giveaways. Admission is free, and we are accepting donations of non-perishable food items for our local food banks. We hope to see you there.
Welcome back to Outside the Echo Chamber, coming to you from the Show and Bomb stage at Haddad Riverfront Park in downtown Charleston. Speaking with Mackenzie Spencer, the Executive Director of Festival, part of the Mayor's Office, and probably the head of the Fun Police. Is what I'm going to call you
I would love that title.
For the summer in Charleston. We talked about Regatta, we talked about Festival. Just part of a huge lineup again of summertime activities in Charleston, where we're sitting right now, of course, the site of Live on the Levee every Friday night throughout the summer. Multi-Fest will be here again the first weekend of August. And we just recently had the U.S. bike team here, the bicycle team here in Charleston. It was a huge event.
Oh my gosh, it was massive.
Not only a multitude of races, but some important races as well. Olympic trials going on. We're sending 2 people to Paris later this summer. And I tend to believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that building these types of events in the summertime and creating this type of destination location helps to lure some of these events. People from U.S. Bike Team probably never even considered Charleston before, and now that they're here, they might be like, wow, this is where we really want to set up. There are some inherent advantages with Charleston, with the hills, and you can't do this in Oklahoma City where everything's flat. But I mean, what kind of feedback have you gotten just from people that came to check it out and to see the city for the first time ever?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, getting USA Cycling, we had USA Volleyball at the Coliseum, we've had USA Table Tennis. Bringing these large sporting events is massive. We get people from all over the country that are seeing Charleston mostly for the first time, and they come and fall in love with it, and they see how amazing it is here. And, thankfully we've got USA Cycling for 5 years. And so we'll get some of these folks for the next 5 years that come back and go and tell all their friends and all their people that it's great here. But I volunteered for 2 days of USA Cycling, and I did the big road race that went up Bridge Road and everything. And that was exciting to see and exciting to watch. But also time trials here on the Boulevard.
Yeah, it's a fun event, and it's also very competitive. So, these are elite bicyclists.
Oh, absolutely.
Top of the top, so.
I can't even imagine, running up Bridge Hill, let alone biking up Bridge Hill 10
I don't run
times.
unless someone's chasing me.
Yeah, they were doing 10 laps on Bridge Road. I mean, to me, that's insane. But
world-class athletes.
These are, these people have trained and trained and trained for this. And we're here days in advance to check out the terrain and everything like that. And I got to speak to several people from out of town, and everybody talked about how friendly folks were, how accommodating folks were, how lovely our downtown was. And so it was exciting to see.
That's certainly one of the hallmarks of the people of West Virginia, very genuine people. And you mentioned that they were here early to check things out. I also noticed, just on my own walking downtown, that a lot of them were here late as well. Like a week after the event, I still saw like some cyclists riding downtown. I'm like, I know that person's not from Charleston.
Right.
So, the lasting effects of people being like, wow, this is a really cool city. Yeah. And I know that the business owners have said that a lot of them had their best week of the year that week. So, I mean, that's got to make you excited as well.
Definitely. And I mean, I've seen that just in everyday conversation with folks. I ran into a couple that was walking down Capitol Street, looked a little confused, and I asked if they needed directions somewhere, and they said that they were from Minneapolis and they had stopped on their way back from vacation, and that was 4 days ago, and they just loved it here, and they've just been here, and they just wanted to check things out. So what else was going on? Yeah. What else could I tell them? And I've seen that out of people, is that once people get here, they love it here. We just got to get them here.
Yeah, but really, I mean, and I know that a lot of people had their hat in the ring. A lot of people went into making sure that event came here.
Definitely.
But certainly also a feather in the cap of the mayor's office.
Absolutely,
and the things that you guys have been able to do and the vision that you've had.
Yeah. And
then late in the year, would be remiss if I didn't mention the Christmas parade.
Yes.
That Amy really transformed, took it from what was on a weekend morning to a weekday night. And she got a lot of blowback from that, from people saying, oh, it's a school night, what are you doing? I have yet to meet a person now over the last few years that isn't happy with that change, and it's so much more festive, and the ancillary events like the Holly Jolly Brawley that have gone along with it. it really creates a Christmas fun atmosphere.
The
for
lights
everybody.
helped so much, it being at night. And I mean, when you have, almost 200 entries for a parade, you did something right.
Sure. And I know that we at HE Media are proud to be a part of that
Absolutely.
too. We always set up right there. So tell Amy
Yeah,
that we'll be talking to her
absolutely
again
at the corner.
to partner with you guys again this year. But,
Absolutely.
Just another example of everything that's going on here in Charleston, and we're excited for another big summer. I want to thank Mackenzie Spencer for her time today to come and talk to us about
Thank
everything
you.
going on. Again, festival, you can go to, festivalcharleston.com?
Yep, that's where we go.
And then the regatta a couple weeks after that. So you'll have a lot to do this summer. Just stay tuned and make sure that you're taking your family out to enjoy everything that the city has to offer. Thank you, Mackenzie.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on another episode of Outside the Echo Chamber as we continue to discuss events and issues that are important to you and your family. Until next time, I'm Rick Lord. Take care.